It's Friday morning, July 2nd. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel. And breaking news this morning, we have a early model 737-200 cargo aircraft down off of the coast of Honolulu, Hawaii this morning in what appears to be a dual engine failure. Both crew members, this is a cargo aircraft, only a pilot and co-pilot were on board. Both crew members have been successfully picked up by the Coast Guard. Let's go inside and find out what we know so far. This is the Boeing 737-200. They call it the 200, the 275C/A. So that's the cargo version of the 200. This is a very early model of Boeing 737, first flown in 1975. So that means it's got the low bypass JT8D engines on board, which only produce about 14,000 pounds of thrust or so, unless this aircraft had been modified. The accident occurred about 2:45 in the morning. It was a routine cargo flight going from Honolulu to Maui. The pilots reported troubles with the number 1 engine and made a bid to make an emergency return back to Honolulu's airport. And on the return to the airport, after running through their checklists, they reported roughness in the number 2 engine and that perhaps they would not make it back to the airport, and they ended up successfully ditching the aircraft several miles short of the runway. Now let's go inside and check out the ATC audio tape, show you what we know so far. Before we get started with the ATC audio tape, let's give you the lay of the land. Here on SkyVector is the sectional chart for the Honolulu airport. This aircraft was taking off on runway 8 right. We commonly call that the reef runway out at Honolulu, and did a right-hand emergency pattern in an attempt to make it back to the airport and crashed or successfully ditched somewhere right here just short of the runway by a couple miles. It was scheduled to be a routine cargo flight from Honolulu over to Maui right here. Also on the ATC audio tapes, you're going to hear reference to this airport, Kalialoa, which is located right here next to Honolulu as a possible emergency diversion alternate airport. Know where your diversion airports are at all times. Here's the airport diagram for Honolulu Airport, the 10-9 page. This is runway 8 right down here, the reef runway, over, 12,000 feet long. It's a long taxiway out for most of us to this reef runway. This is the Transair website, the company that was involved in this ditching this morning. They operate a fleet of 5 Boeing 737s. These are the early model 200s. You can tell by the low bypass small engines and the short fuselage length. And also 5 Bombardier SD3-60-300 aircraft. And they fly cargo in between all the islands here in Hawaii. The engines on these early model 200 series 737s is the Pratt & Whitney JT8D. Unless these aircraft were modified, I doubt that is the case. They are one of the most successful low bypass turbine engines in the industry, used on a lot of different aircraft, putting out about 14,000 pounds of thrust. Now let's get over to the ATC audio tapes. So here we've got the live ATC audio recording. This is the Honolulu departure and approach control. More on that in a minute, and I'm going to attempt to sync this up with the FlightRadar24 playback. So let's roll the ATC tape, and I'll explain what's going on.
Express 810, runway right, clear for takeoff.
Runway right, clear for takeoff, Road Express 810.
Code 101018, heavy contact center 126.5. Have a great night.
126.5, thank you, Charlie Tango Mike 101 heavy model.
So Roads Express 810 has been cleared for takeoff.
UPS 2964 heavy up on the 821.
UPS 2964 heavy, Helmut Tower, thank you. 1156 affirmative, read back correct.
810 will have emergency standby. Good on the 220 heavy.
Road Express 810, radar contact, fly heading of 100 to John Victor 2, resume navigation, time to maintain 13,000, stay altitude leaving.
Okay, Roads 810 declared the emergency, but ATC didn't initially hear that. ATC is running several frequencies at once, which is very common this time of night when the amount of traffic in the area is low. And it's a problem. But they get it sorted out. So he's on a 220 heading and declaring an emergency.
UPS 2964, we cannot comply with the last zone.
UPS 2964, heavy, no problem. You've got the full line. Road Express 809, clear visual approach runway 4 right. Number 2, caution, wait turbulence behind a heavy MD-11 short funnel, runway 4 right, clear to land, change my frequency, 118.1.
Road Express 809, 4 right, clear to land, clear for visual, with U18-1, Road 809.
Road Express 810, radar contact, turn left, heading 090, join Victor 2, resume navigation, climb and maintain 13,000, stay altitude.
Okay, Rose 810, radio check, how do you read?
Road Express 810, loud and clear, how do you hear? Turn left, heading 180.
Okay, Rose 810, we've lost an engine. We are on the 220 heading.
Road Express 809, cancel approach clearance, turn left now, I say again, heading 240.
Okay, 240 heading Rose 810.
No, Road 809, left 240.
240 now, Road 809.
Road Express 810, you're cleared visual approach runway 4 right, you can turn in towards the airport.
Okay, Rose 810, we're going to have to run a checklist if we can get a delay vector.
Road Express 810, roger, continue on the 220 heading and just keep me advised and maintain 2000 if that's the altitude you'd like.
Okay, 2000 is good for now. We'll stay around 15 miles from the airport.
UPS 2964 heavy, taxi to parking via Charlie.
Okay, you hear all the confusion that's going on there? He declared the emergency. She didn't hear it initially. He had to declare the emergency basically again so that she could hear it because she's busy working other frequencies at the same time. And then right away she gets Roads Express 809, the other aircraft that's fixing to land. She tells him to go around so that she can make room for this emergency aircraft to return to Honolulu. And that communication gets a little bit confused between 809 and 810. Similar call signs, same company aircraft. A little confusion there. But they get it all sorted out. And now he's going to go do his checklist procedures, his single engine procedures, on the downwind for the return.
Departing via Charlie, UPS 2964.
UPS 2964 heavy, taxi to parking via Charlie.
Departing via Charlie, UPS 2964 heavy.
And Road Express 809, can you make the turn back in now to the airport? Company's not coming in quite yet.
Okay, we are coming back towards the airport, heading 360 now, Road Express 809.
Road Express 809, you're still cleared for the visual approach to runway 4 right, clear to land.
4 right, clear to land, Road 809.
And Road Express 810, when you get a chance, can I get... the nature of the emergency, I know you said an engine out. Which one, how many souls on board, and fuel?
Okay, all that is good. We'll give you all that in a little bit, Rose 810.
Whenever you're ready.
Good. Give that to her later. So she's re-cleared 809 to come on and land. I think she said runway 4 right because our emergency aircraft is taking a little bit of time running through his checklist procedures. So quite a bit of confusion right there at the beginning of the emergency, which is not uncommon, especially late at night. I assume the weather is VFR, but one controller is handling multiple frequencies.
Below 56 runway left taxi via Alpha.
See, she's even handling ground frequency as well. Looking at this data, as soon as they pull that number 1 engine back, it looks like they're on a steady descent.
Honolulu Rose 810.
Road Express 810, hello, sir.
Yeah, we can take your 10 to the right, towards the airport. We're not ready to land yet, though.
Road Express 810, flight heading is 250.
250 Rose 810.
Right about there. Okay, they're getting wrapped up in those checklists. You can really get these checklists done much quicker than this, and the return to the airport in just a matter of a minute or two. But they're going through all the checklists as they've been trained, and it's taking them more time.
And Rose 810 would like to come to the airport now.
Rose Express 810, roger. Confirm you still have the airport in sight. Turn right, heading of 020.
They're talking over each other.
Rose Express 810, turn right, heading 020. Confirm you still have the airport in sight.
Negative, we don't have the airport. Rose 810, 020.
Rose Express 810, fly heading of 020. And would you like to intercept the localizer, or do you want vectors?
Vectors straight to the airport.
Rose Express 810, turn right, heading 040.
Say again, Rose 810.
040, heading Rose Express 810.
He's gone so far out here, going through.
040, roger, Rose 810.
And Rose Express 810, is it 2 souls on board, and also how much fuel remaining?
Rose 810, stand by.
He's busy. He's gone so far out here, he's lost sight of the airport and needs to basically vectors to directly back to the airport. As he continues to steadily lose altitude and airspeed. Now, you 737-200 guys, let me know, how is the performance on a 200 series aircraft with a full load of cargo? It should be fairly light on fuel. The performance of this aircraft indicates to me that there's something more wrong with this aircraft than the loss of a single engine, because you should be able to maintain altitude and airspeed on one engine.
Rose Express 810, fly heading of 050.
050, Rose Express 810.
That's the other pilot, it sounds like to me.
Rose Express 809, I need you to roll all the way to the end, please. All the way to the end, turn right and hold short of runway 8 left on Charlie.
He needs him to get out of the way.
Rose Express 809, hold short of runway 8 left on Charlie. Rose Express 809, I'm not hearing anything. Hold short of runway 8 left on Charlie.
Hold short runway 8 left on Charlie, Rose Express 809.
Thank you. Law 56, runway 8 left, cleared for takeoff.
8 left, clear for takeoff, Law 56. Okay, Rose 810, situation with loss number 1, an engine. And we're coming straight to the airport. We're going to need the fire department to take chance. We're going to lose the other engine too. It's running very hot. And speed is, we're pretty low on the speed. Doesn't look good out here. You might want to let the Coast Guard know as well. And we don't have any hazmat. And fuel is about 2 hours of fuel.
And Rose Express 810, how many people are on board?
2 of us.
Rose Express 810, roger. Do you have the airport in sight? Rose Express 810, do you have the airport in sight?
Negative.
Oh, and Rose Express 810, low altitude alert. Low altitude alert. Are you able to climb at all?
No, negative.
Rose Express 810, roger. Proceed direct to the airport and you are cleared to land any runway.
We need a heading.
Rose Express 810, heading 060.
060.
Okay, 2 hours fuel on board. He said the number 2 engine.
Express 810, the trucks are rolling.
The number.
You want to let the Coast Guard know as well?
Say that again?
Can you let the Coast Guard know? We cannot maintain altitude.
We will.
Let the Coast Guard know I cannot maintain altitude. Earlier, he mentioned that the number 2 engine is also running hot, I believe is what he said, running hot. He's losing power in number 2 engine. This does not sound to me like a case of shutting down the wrong engine. To me, this sounds like a real engine failure problem with both
Rose
engines.
Express 809, crossing right, left taxi to parking.
Cross 8 left taxi parking, Rose Express 809.
Rose Express 810, the Coast Guard is on their way.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
And Rose Express 810, if you want to land 8 right, if you can get to the runway, any runway, you are clear to land.
Getting that Coast Guard rolling.
Express 810, if you can get to runway 8 right or Kalaeloa, if you want Kalaeloa.
I'd like the closest airport runway, please.
Rose Express 810, Kalaeloa Airport is 3 miles north of you, off your 9 to 10 o'clock.
Kualoa right there.
Can you get that? Road Express 810. It's to your left, about 3 miles northwest of you.
Okay, give me a heading.
Road Express 810, the airport is about a 310 heading from you.
310, thank you.
So I'm not sure if it's VFR, if there's clouds obscuring these runways for these crews. It is, of course, nighttime, 2:33 a.m. in the morning. It was critical that they got the Coast Guard rolling as early as they did. That was the best call all day, as the Coast Guard was able to effect a very heroic and close call rescue.
Lower 56, sorry about that. Your radar contact for Direct Molokai climbing to 16,000.
16,000, Direct Molokai, lower 56.
Road Express 810, the lights may need to be on 132.6. They may be pilot controlled.
Pilot control lighting, see that? 132.6 with a star. They just don't have time to mess with that right now.
Road Express 810, Honolulu Tower.
And I think...
Lower 56, climb, maintain 16,000.
Climb, maintain 16,000, lower 56.
By this point, I think they are in the water. So I just watched the live briefing from the Coast Guard. They did a heroic rescue to get these two guys off of this aircraft. They got out of the aircraft, and the aircraft sank very, very fast. I'll see if I can find the link to that Coast Guard rescue and post it down below. That's what we know so far about the loss of the 737-200 early model cargo aircraft off of Honolulu this morning.
Oh, Tower, this is
T2 Honolulu Tower.
I was trying to call you on ground. Is ground out?
No, I was kind of busy.
Yeah, she's...
I understand. Do you have a status update on this aircraft?
T2, yeah, looks like they went down in the water about 2 miles southeast of Kualoa.
So I hope this gives you a better understanding of what happened to the 737-200 this morning off the coast of Honolulu from a pilot's perspective. This sounds to me like both engines failed on them. It does not sound to me like they accidentally shut down the wrong engine during this emergency. Both crew members survived. The Coast Guard has done a heroic rescue of the two crew members. I'll post a link to their debriefing below. Take a look at that. As we get more information on this, we'll keep you posted. It'll be very interesting to find out what caused the engine problems on this 737-200 that forced them to ditch in the water this morning. Thanks so much for your support of this channel, especially those over on Patreon that make this content possible. As often when we talk about these airplane crashes on YouTube, this content is often demonetized. Thanks so much for your support. We'll see you here.